Let's bring up our special guest, shall we? Alainna Huffman. Sam Huntington, and of course, Brandon Routh. Okay, I will be perfectly honest. A lot of you may have noticed that we just had 2 microphones and 2 bottles of water up here as of about 30 seconds ago. Because last I heard, you were having a little trouble getting into town, and I had a feeling that you weren't going to. I didn't know that you were going to be here until somebody said, "Oh yeah, the 3 of them are over there." The 3 of them. Oh, okay. So it's a pleasant surprise for me to see you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Are these on? Can you guys hear us?
Well, welcome to the party, everybody, and this is a great party indeed. Because I'll tell you what, Brandon, you were kind of a late addition to the plan here because we had the other guests already set up, and everybody was extremely excited about seeing everybody. And then, I don't know, it was sort of this little spark that happened when your name got mentioned. And I'll tell you, even when I work with the chamber a little bit here, and I'm trying to get them to tell me, they said, "Oh, we got a big announcement coming up, something special, something real important." And I'm saying, "Oh, why you can tell me?" They wouldn't even tell me, but you could just tell in their voice they were real excited about you being here. And I think, So we're going to keep this relatively informal. We're going to have a lot of fun. We've got a lot of questions out here, I'm sure. You brought some paparazzi.
Sorry. My wife.
So Alainna, I'll tell you what, we'll start ladies first. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And now, you're no stranger to sci-fi, of course, because of Stargate Universe as well. Were you aware of the Black Canary character before you got brought on board?
No, in fact, when I auditioned, it was like any other audition. You just sort of go in with a little bit of knowledge. You have a couple pages of sides. And then they called me and said I got the job, but they weren't going to tell me what the character was because it was top secret. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to prepare? And then they finally told me, and I didn't know who the Black Canary was, and I Googled her, and I was like, I have to wear that? I've had children! And but they custom made the costume, and yeah, it was awesome. I love her. She's a great character.
Now, as far as you're concerned, then, when it came time to step into the role of Jimmy Olsen, and obviously you knew all about Jimmy's character and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you go ahead and take a look back at some of the other people that had done Jimmy Olsen before? Did you, or how were you instructed to study for your character?
You know what? I just tried to. First of all, yes, I was very familiar with Mark McClure. Really, Mark McClure's portrayal of Jimmy, and so I needed no boning up at all as far as I was concerned. And then we met Jack Larson, who was Jimmy in the TV series, the old George Reed. Such a sweet man, and so we got to have a really cool
Mushroom been a blackout.
He's a pretty great guy.
Still in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I actually haven't seen it. I don't know. But yeah, we got to play a scene with him, and so that was really fun in the bar, and then we. I just tried to take as much of myself as I could to the role because I kind of felt like I was made to play it, and so I lucked out. I got the job, which rarely happens. Oh, stop.
Now, speaking of born to play the role, Brandon, let's talk.
I really wanted to play Jimmy Olsen. Yeah,
I understand it was that
We
close.
were originally
taken
for each other's roles, and I don't know what happened.
Now, I mean, it's so obvious to all of us when we got the announcement that you were cast in the role, and we saw the initial pictures of you as Clark and as Superman, that, yep, that's the guy, all right. But for you, how long was it from the first time that you heard about the audition to when you finally found out? Because
it was about 6 or 7 months. My first initial inkling about the movie was I just auditioned for another TV show actually that Mick G, who was the then director, his producing partner saw me and thought maybe I had a good look for Superman, which he was doing, and mentioned me to him, and that kind of got the meeting, and then through a lot of change, 7 months later, finally I got the role.
Was it like a painful 7 months with like
Yes.
birth? You know.
Yes, because I screen tested once for Mick G along with I think 4 or 5 other guys, and then when news came that he was no longer on the project, it seemed like it was falling away, and so to be this close and then to have it all go away was kind of heartbreaking. But then a month and a half later, it was resurrected by Bryan Singer, and thankfully, and you know,
Here we are.
yeah.
So I'm assuming you were appropriately insane when you got the news. I mean, you can tell us, we're all friends here.
I was more relieved than anything. It was just such a lot of people were rooting for me and my family and stuff, and you don't want to disappoint anybody after all that big build-up. Yeah, I was in the producer's office actually and got the call. Just waiting for the call, just kind of that last little nail in the coffin, I guess, to finalize it. And so then I called my mom and dad, and my mom screamed. And, yeah, so they did all the screaming.
Okay, as long as there's screaming involved, I'm good with that. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and open up to some questions as well. I don't suppose anybody has any questions for any of these guys. Oh, what do you know? Our lovely Supergirl is going to be whooshing around here with a microphone to help out. So, tell you what, we got this gentleman with the gentleman with the Superman shirt over here. Whittles it down a little bit.
My question is directed to you, Brandon. What was it like putting the suit on for the first time?
Well, that's an interesting question because I haven't thought about this before, but I actually wore another version of the suit before I wore the version in Superman Returns. There was a Mick G suit. And so that was really my first time in a Superman suit. And that was a bizarre thing because it was kind of like a really plasticky prototype that they really rushed it. And I put it on and they left me and I'm just standing in a room going, okay, what do I do now? So I sat down and picked up a magazine. My legs crossed, sitting there reading a magazine going, this is the strangest thing in the world. So it was a little shocking and kind of awe-inspiring.
So what were the differences in the suit? Because
they were dramatic. I mean, that suit was really just a prototype, and it was about that thick, and it was a material that didn't really move. It was just crunchy and weird. This was what I ended up wearing was spandex. Milliskin. This gentleman knows, which was much more breathable.
So, as far as comfort in the suit, you were okay for the most part?
For the most part. The flying was really challenging because I had a harness on, and so the harness and everything else kind of made the whole suit a big rubber band. So, raising my arm, being vertical, horizontal.
Unless you're going straight up, then it would be vertical.
Being horizontal, and having to raise your arm, having all the whole weight of the suit kind of stretched against you was a bit of a challenge, but all part of the job.
Now, Alaina, your costume was nowhere near as restrictive, or was it? Were there challenges with your costume as well?
The challenge with my costume is, believe it or not, my heels always get stuck in my fishnets when I fight.
I didn't want to
It's very odd. You're like in the middle of a spin kick, and you're like, we gotta cut. My heel's caught. So they didn't do the bustier, they did it like a tank top, so that was a lot more comfortable for me. And we shoot in Canada. It's very cold in the winter, in fishnets and no pants. But other than that, it's okay.
The physical aspects of the role, though, because you're talking about the fighting and everything, was the suit any problem with that? And what sort of training did you have for the physical aspects of the shoot?
Smallville, as you guys know, who watches Smallville here?
So nobody then.
Yeah. They of course do tons of stunts, tons of wire work, tons of effects, and it's built into the schedule every week. So the stunt team is really great about like trying to get you to do stuff. I mean, they'll walk up to you in the middle of rehearsal and be like, "Hey, you want to learn how to throw knives?" And you're like, "Yeah." We're gonna do some flips and some wire work, and so you'll just kind of go over in a corner and get hooked up to some harnesses and wires and be thrown around by like 5 guys. It's a lot of fun, and it's a little bit challenging. I do have a stunt double, so all the fancy stuff is usually not me. I usually initiate a lot of it, and then they go in with my stunt double and sort of make it all look really pretty.
And at the end you go, ta-da!
Yeah,
Right? Okay.
yeah, I like flip into it and be like, ha!
That was pretty good.
That was just
Thanks.
it. You really kind of take a sense of the reality that you tried to bring to the role.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Costume-wise for you, part of the work this thing was getting used to doing the bow tie, right?
Yeah, they taught it for me.
Oh, they got
Yeah, it would have looked like spaghetti on my face. It would have looked
So
terrible.
you didn't have a stunt bow tie or anything?
No, in fact, it was so interesting though. They were so anal about it. I remember Brian being really specific that he wanted it to be an actual real bow tie. It's actually the one thing I kept from the movie. I have a little shadow box.
Turn these cameras off for a second here.
What's that? I stole it. Stay in school. But I have it. It's very cool. Yeah. Anyway, not much restriction. It was pretty breathable. My fighting was minimal. Lucky.
All right, let's go for another question out in the audience here. Let's get somebody over on this side. How about right up in the front row here?
Okay, this question is for all 3 of you. So you guys have all played many different characters. So I was wondering, what was your most challenging role and why?
Alaina, you go first. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Challenging in terms of character, I would say the Black Canary, because there's all the physical aspects, and then because we sort of in Smallville, she was never really introduced, and there was no mythology, and it was sort of hinted at that she was part of the Justice League, and that she and Ollie had this relationship, and then it never really filtered through. So we kind of had to play that, but not. So that was a little bit challenging. And then Stargate, just because it was my longest run on a TV show, and the challenge in that was trying to turn the Atlantis fans to like us. That was hard, and it's still challenging.
There was this role I played in high school in a play. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, Superman. Absolutely, hands down. Not only did I have to learn to fake fly and all the process of that, but to really look like I was actually flying, and uphold an amazing legacy, and hopefully make everybody.
I'm on a TV show called Being Human right now. Thank you all very much. And it's really hard. It's awesome because at the end of the day, I love the show, and I think that all the hard work is warranted. But yeah, I have grueling makeup and really long hours, and the role itself is very dynamic and different and awkward, and at the same time extremely fun. So I'm being challenged right now in that role, and having a blast doing it. So I would say that would be, I love you. I love you. But yeah, so that's like that.
Awesome. All right, how about another question? Who's got one? Let's go right here in the front row. How's that?
Yes.
Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Since I mentioned earlier that I liked you in Detroit Rock City, I was wondering, are you a Kiss fan? Because I'm a Kiss fan.
I'm glad you're a Kiss fan.
All right, because they call me Dr. Love.
Kiss Army. They actually call you Doc. Is that who? I've always wondered who that song is written about.
Gene Simmons.
But now we know it's actually you, right? Because
Heck yes.
He's fine, but you're Dr. Love. I wasn't really. You know, I was like 16 when we made that movie, 16, 17. So I was relatively well versed in classic rock at that point, but I hadn't really developed a real love for it yet. And since then, oh yeah, huge. And I respect what Kiss is. You know what they are. I mean, they're kind of an amazing phenomenon. So.
Yeah. I mean, Gene Simmons, Superman. I mean, they're both very iconic characters.
Yeah, and Superman did just crush Gene Simmons. He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. I work out with him. He works out at my gym, and he's like in the back. And
Does he leer at you? does he stick his tongue out at you? Honestly, would be surprised if he had.
What kind of music do you listen to? What's your bag?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I'm all over the place. Honestly, like I listen to everything. I've got a couple stations on my Sirius radio that I just kind of have on all the time. So, yeah, like that. I actually think that we were in the car recently, Brandon and his wife and my wife and I, and we were all listening to the Frank Sinatra station. And we were all saying, what was it? You had a funny story. It was like you were driving along and you were driving. I think it was when you were on the East Coast.
No, it was when I was getting married. We were driving to get married, and we realized we'd been listening to the Frank Sinatra channel for an hour. And we're like, when did we start listening to Frank Sinatra? But it's very soothing on a long drive. So.
It also puts a baby to sleep.
Yeah.
So how's that? You got Brandon and Sam with their wives. You know, how's that for a double date? That's pretty cool. Nice. Okay, another question. Let's work our way back in the room a little bit here. Head on back in that direction. We've got this gentleman back over here with his, I'm assuming it's a Superman hat, but he definitely has got the Superman hat somewhat.
This is for Brandon Routh. I love Superman, it's my favorite show, and I have a present. And the Superman going, and when you have the kryptonite, and that's real good, did that feel pain in your back? He ran down, but that's like a straight or something?
Oh, what about the kryptonite when it's in my bag?
He stabbed me in the back. Did that hurt real bad?
Did it hurt? Oh, did it actually hurt?
Yeah.
No. Because what they did is he had a little piece of it that had like you only see the back end, you know, like a stab with a sword, but it's only this part sticking out. So it was just this, you know. And what hurt about that scene was is we did that, and there was water in that scene that I'm kind of sloshing through, and that water was so cold. And we did that scene, plus it's a traumatic scene. I'm getting, you know, my butt whooped, and we had to do it about 8 times, and it was just, you know, being submerged in water and choking and really trying to act like I'm getting killed. So that was a tough scene. That was one of the hardest things to shoot in the movie, actually. Yeah.
Toughest day on the set, was it?
Yeah.
I can imagine the wire work and stuff like that. I mean, once you kind of get into the rhythm and everything, did you kind of?
Yeah. That you know, if you know, in the 10th hour of this, you know,
it gets a little old, right?
Yeah, but at least I was warm. So.
Was there a learning curve on the wire stuff? I mean,
yeah, there was a big learning curve. I had a great movement coach, a guy named Terry Notary, and he used to work with Cirque du Soleil, and he did the Apes and Planet the previous Planet of the Apes, not the new ones coming out, and a lot of other movies that involve, you know, movement, specific movement. And so we worked a long time creating the choreography, different moves and giving them names, using my swimming background. I really felt that added a fluid motion to the flight. So once we did that, I felt, you know, I could feel when I was in the right position and my body was straight and all those things.
Very good. Okay, how about some more questions? What do we got? Harley Green, you got a question, do you? Okay, Supergirl.
Smallville, you're our sixth member that we've been coming here, and the rest of you is our third one. You listen to the Superman song, 10 Feet Tall Bulletproof by Travis Tritt, and the Footloose song, I Need a Hero, where the part says, it takes Superman to keep me off my feet, and never is, if you don't give your heart wings, you'll never ever fly, so you need to put those in your radio. And what was it like to work with Noah Neal's Superman?
We didn't actually have the scenes with Noelle.
No,
I've
met her, and she's a lovely woman. And she is.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. Gertrude.
Yeah.
I forgot. That's her.
She's. Yeah.
You never see her face, though.
Yes, she's Gertrude. She's the dying. She's Lex's dying heiress. Or
reading for you a little bit.
not
Yeah, I've
heiress,
never
but-
seen it.
Right. No, she's the
This
dying.
one of these parts.
I would have liked to have actually worked with her, but I have met her a couple times.
So when you hear songs on the radio where the word Superman comes up, and you kind of like ping on that, and kind of like.
Yeah, it's funny. It's strange, especially when you just turn it on.
Yeah.
Just turn the radio on, and it happens to be a song that has Superman. I was like, what? That's it.
Now with the marketing and stuff like that, I mean, you have the posters. I mean, 6 foot tall stand up with Jimmy Olsen that you can get, you know, and yeah, you haven't seen it. Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it.
But I'll tell you, I mean, you know, everybody gets their action figures and stuff like that, but you, okay, I'm going to open this question to everybody. Hands in the air. How many people here have their likeness in wax at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum? Anybody? Anybody? How was that?
That was a strange process. I went to this hotel, and you just stand on this circular, like a lazy Susan thing that they just turn, and they take these minute measurements. But it was about 6 months after the movie, and after I got done with the movie, I really didn't want to work out very much anymore. So I was really kind of embarrassed. They're measuring me, and I thought, oh, this is not really as good as the movie, but that's all right. But no, it was cool. And then when I got to go to New York and see it, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember seeing the picture of a bunch of kids around and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when the kids see you, I mean, is it really? I mean, especially like out here, you get the fans and all that sort of stuff. It's got to be really something.
It's cool. Sometimes I scare kids. I mean, I understand that. I do yell at them, which is part of it. It's great when, you know, if they're young enough, then they don't know, which is great. But sometimes they get really nervous, and I'm sad for them. I want them to not run away. But it's great. You know, it's people of all ages. And one of the coolest things when I was actually filming the movie, people of all ages would come and visit the set. We had a few visitors, and if I was in a suit, kid or adult alike, were nervous and shaky, and you know, it was kind of a cool thing to be in the presence when I was in the suit. So to see the effect of the suit on people like Sam. Yeah, I had to drag him out of his room every day.
It's terrible. It's like seeing Santa Claus. The first time I saw it, I was
Except better.
Except cooler. Except thinner. We had adjoining dressing rooms. And his actual room that he got put in the suit in was a separate room that he had, and it was right next to my room. And I remember I'd been totally geeking out about wanting to see him in the suit, and all of a sudden one day I'm just sitting in there, and he just walks in, and it was I literally teared up, choked up, just couldn't breathe. It was pretty amazing. It was, in all seriousness, it was amazing. You remember, and also when he put the suit on, it was he became Superman. He he's Brandon, but when he put the suit on, he became almost regal and ethereal and spiritual. It was bizarre.
What are you saying? What are you getting?
I don't know what I'm saying. I actually don't
Call you
know.
God.
I did. You were godlike. and then he throws on the fishnets. Forget it. Oh, I mean Alaina.
Yeah, I can relate to that though, because Smallville, it's the same thing. You know, even though Tom doesn't wear the suit. Yeah, I want to see him in the suit too. But the first episode I did in season 7, there was like a big fight in the Luthor mansion, and it was Lex and Green Arrow and me and Clark, and I was like, this is awesome. And it's lit like a comic book, and I'm not traditionally a comic book fan, so it really it does sort of like stump you.
Yeah,
like,
it's
wow,
super cool, yeah.
to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So what have you got coming up now? What projects are you working on that we can look forward to?
I just got an offer to do Alphas, that new sci-fi show. So I've actually passed on almost everything that's come my way this year, and I've been beginning to like kind of regret it. I was like, oh, what did I do? But I'm looking for the next right show or project, not just the next one. So yeah, they just called me yesterday when I was on my way over in Chicago, and it looks like I'll be going on Monday to shoot an episode of that. So.
So how about you? You tied into the movie for a while? What's your opinion on that?
Well, like any TV show, I think they lock you in for like 7 years if you're lucky enough to get 7 years of the show. But yeah, we're just about to start shooting again in July. I have a month to get skinny, so you can all see me naked again. And I know most of you are wanting to not see that. Fanboys too. Fanboy. We'll see.
And now you just kicking around not doing much, right?
I like to take a break. I actually have a movie called Miss Nobody on Netflix right now, which I actually filmed a long time ago. It's a fun, kind of dark comedy. Not necessarily a family movie, but it's not that bad. Anyway. And then I'm doing this film called Crooked Arrows, starting in August in the Boston area. And it's kind of like the Mighty Ducks, except with lacrosse. And the team is in high school. Yeah, lacrosse. I don't play lacrosse. I'm getting a crash course. I'm the coach, so I don't have to.
I played lacrosse in high school. So
wow, awesome! It's a great sport, and I'm excited to bring it to the rest of America. Yes, people like lacrosse. I've heard of that.
It's an East Coast thing, pretty much. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well done. I'll tell you what. We're going to take just 2 more questions, so I need really good ones. Okay. Let's see. Here we've got somebody down in the front here with her Clark Kent glasses on. So why don't we come on down here?
So, some of you were in theater in high school, and like when you were younger, what like theater were you in, and what were your favorites? Like when you were younger.
Well, I was just in my high school theater productions. The first play I ever did was called Hide and Shriek. Yeah, it's pretty classic.
It is.
But actually, it was the most fun I've had on stage, because I haven't done a lot of stage work. But I played, it was my first time in front of a real audience acting, and I played a redneck named Aesop, with bib overalls and a hat, and my hair sticking through it. And, it was comedy, so that's why I love comedy so much. That was kind of the beginning of it.
And how about you, Sam? Any theaters in your background?
I started theater when I was, where are you? There you are. When I was a little guy. I was like 9, and I did 4 years at a little playhouse in New Hampshire where I'm from. Really, really cool and prestigious. Very lucky that it was so close to where I lived. And I think it's the most important thing you can do as a young aspiring actor is to throw yourself on the stage. You know what I mean? It is literally conquering every fear that you could possibly have, and it's instant knowledge as to whether you are good at it or not, because you live or die, and you learn so much. So it was still one of my favorite things I've ever done. I did Waiting for Godot, and then I did To Kill a Mockingbird. and that was like one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. So, yeah, I would love to get back to theater. I think everyone should do theater. Amazing.
Alaina, how about you?
I also did children's theater, and we moved every 3 or 4 years when I was a kid, so I never really got connected to any one theater group, and the longest I did was about 9 years old as well. And there was just several plays that we did at playhouses where we performed for like elementary schools, and it's something that I'd love to get back to. It's funny, I think, as an actor, either when a lot of actors, when they're not working, they're studying. Or they're not. A lot of us don't have time. I mean, you go from one project to the next, or I myself have 3 kids, so
Wow! All right!
I have a real job. I have like laundry and like I have to mop floors and stuff. So yeah. So work is actually like an awesome break for me. I get to go sit. And actually Stargate is so efficient. I used to tell them, I'm like, guys, call me in 4 hours early. I can watch movies and read books and like, bring my dog and cuddle.
That's hilarious.
I know. Work is awesome.
Okay, seriously, one last question. It's got to be a quick one. We are so far behind right now. All right, this young fellow up here with a very impressive logo on his shirt there.
Turquoise.
From the Philippines, what are you going to do, right? Mr. Routh, it's an honor to get to speak to you today. This isn't so much as a question as it is a brief statement of gratitude. Ever since the triumph and return of Superman in 2006, there have been a lot of incorrect internet revisionist history concerning Superman Returns. Firstly, the reviews and reactions from critics and fans was very positive and remains so to this day, despite the few but vocal detractors. Secondly, the film made a lot of money all over the world, and even though its budget was unfairly burdened with the debt from previous attempts at making Superman films. Lastly, not only did the film have plenty enough action for my taste, but it also had the most important ingredient that a Superman film has to have, heart. And you, sir, are the heart and soul of that wonderful film. People who need non-stop, mindless, shallow action in their superhero movies can have the Zack Snyder movie. As for me, I like my heroes with emotional depth, and you brought that and so many new layers to the Man of Steel. Thank you for giving us the majestic and thoughtful movie known as Superman Returns.
Okay, well, I can't top that. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right, let's hear it for our guests today, Alainna Huffman, Sam Huntington, and Brandon Routh.
Thank you, everybody.
And everybody, I want to give a big round of applause to the Chamber of Commerce for bringing these great guests to us today. They went above and beyond the call of duty. They worked tirelessly to volunteer to put this show on. They made this a great honor. Thank you very much, Chamber.